scores! Stutzler, one-timer, scores! Great save made by Gustafsson.
Right here, what an awesome pass through the slot, onto the stick of Batherson.
Kachuk in tight, Olinski, got it, scores! Brady Kachuk wins it in overtime for Ottawa.
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon and I am your host. Now, last night, Ottawa took on the Buffalo Sabres and in doing so, faced off against Craig Anderson, the best goaltender in Senator franchise history, also a friend of the show, but more importantly, he was the best goaltender this franchise has ever seen, and it was pretty sad to see him against Ottawa instead of playing for Ottawa, I will not lie. We're going to talk about it in the game notes. I really do miss Craig Anderson. Guy is an absolute gem. Obviously, Ottawa will always be home to the Andersons, but when TSN last night was showing, those clips of like when Anderson got that famous shutout, against the Edmonton Oilers after spending some time with Nicole when she was fighting cancer. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, Anderson had a special connection. The Anderson family had a special connection with the city of Ottawa. And obviously, like I just said, Ottawa will always be his home. But yeah, it does suck to see him on another team. I will not lie. I definitely do miss the guy. We'll talk about him a bit later. But, I met him obviously when I interviewed him when I was a wee lad. But, he was a nice guy then. And he's, we've gotten to know him a lot more as a fan base in the last few years. So, it was really awesome to see him, of course, but it's also kind of bittersweet because once again, obviously, I've been a Sens fan, if you couldn't tell, for a very, very long time. We've been making these videos since 2013. Craig Anderson, up until last year, was basically the goaltender I saw in every single game I watched for hockey. So, I mean, it's always weird to see some of your favorite players from your childhood when they're older and they leave Ottawa, play on another team. Kind of like Alfredsson, not comparing the two, but once again, it's kind of weird to see. But regardless, happy for him. Congratulations there with Buffalo. Let's get into the game recap. So last night, Ottawa took on Buffalo, and it started to look real good real early for Craig Anderson and the Sabres, as Craig Anderson is 3 wins away from 300 wins in the National Hockey League. Last night would have made it 2 if he got the win against Ottawa. Things were looking good early on for him to do so, as Kyle Okposo was left all alone. Zub and Brown blow the coverage. Okposo beats Forsberg on a nice move to give the Sabres a 1-0 lead in the first period of play, but it was all Sens after that. To the second period we go. Zach Sanford and Tyler Ennis connected for a beautiful goal, as you can see on the screen. Sanford with a nice little move. Tie game. Go to the third period of play. Nick Holden takes a shot from the point. Austin Watson tips it home, coming off a suspension a day or two ago. In the second game back, snaps an 18-game goalless streak to give Ottawa the lead now. It's a 2-1 Sander lead, and then Brady would wind up sealing the deal as the Ottawa Sanders win it 3-1 over the Buffalo Sabres. They are back in the win column. Now, some game notes. Firstly, as I said for like the first minute and a half of this video, Craig Anderson, I miss him. He looked good last night too, 25 stops, a couple classic Anderson stops, with the blocker. But listen, I miss Craig Anderson, and I don't think enough Sens fans appreciate how good and how stable Craig Anderson made this team for such a long period of time. And honestly, it's great to see him succeeding right now in Buffalo. I'm happy to see it, but I really want to hammer down this point. Sens fans really need to understand that Craig Anderson brought stable goaltending to the Ottawa Senators from 2011 when he came here up until like a year or two ago. And we need to understand that most teams would die to have a goaltender for 10 straight years. A consistent 9-10, 9-15 goaltender for 10 straight years. That's what Craig Anderson was. So I hope you get 300 wins, Andy. We love you here in Ottawa. This will always be your home. Now, some other notes. Erik Brannstrom. Oh my God, this guy had a date with the penalty box last night. 3 minor penalties last night. I mean, it was absolutely insane. You can question 1 or 2 of them, but I mean, regardless, you need to have better discipline. End of story. And I'm a little concerned about, for the next game tomorrow against the Bruins, how is DJ Smith going to deploy Erik Brannstrom after taking 3 minor penalties last night? Who knows what's going to happen with that? I just wanted to mention that because, hey, listen, obviously 3 minor penalties, that's something very, very unordinary. But what I'm more interested to see is how DJ Smith deploys Brannstrom moving forward. Once again, we all have bad games. Hopefully DJ Smith just sees it like that, but I'm kind of concerned maybe he's going to draw back Brannstrom's minutes. We shall see tomorrow against the Bruins. Now, I also wanted to mention in the first 10 or 12 minutes of the game in the first period of play, the Sabres got 3 power plays. 3 power plays in the first period of play. Just cannot happen. They were lucky they only allowed 1 power play goal, that of course being to Okposo. But overall, Ottawa, they got 6 minor penalties throughout that game. That is way too many, and they were lucky, no offense to the Buffalo Sabres, Alex Tuch. Ask Vice President of Sens Talk, Noah Luden. I am Alex Tuch's #1 fan, so no disrespect to him, Tage Thompson. They got some nice players there. But let's be honest, the Buffalo Sabres are not exactly the top team in the National Hockey League, right? So just because Ottawa got away with taking 6 minor penalties last night and only giving up 1 power play goal doesn't mean that's what's going to happen tomorrow against Boston, for example, or especially against teams like Washington or against teams like Pittsburgh, where they're going to definitely, especially with Washington with Ovechkin, those type of teams, the top powerhouse teams are going to make you pay for it. So Ottawa, they got the win, but something to take away from that game for sure, need more discipline. End of story. Need more discipline. Now, another note I wanted to discuss, Ottawa's defense, as I alluded to with the penalty kill, was fantastic last night. In fact, Ottawa held Buffalo to 0 shots for 20 minutes, stemming from late in the second period. So, Ottawa was fantastic, really shutting down the Buffalo Sabres. And when Forsberg was called upon, he made the stop. 23 saves last night, so that was good to see for him, getting a nice little win. That should help his confidence. As overall, Ottawa wins a game 3-1. I didn't really get to watch all the game. I saw most of the first period and later parts of the game, but on Twitter I was seeing a lot of people saying they were tired and bored of the game. It was pretty much a snooze fest as what I've read online, but there's some real interesting things to take away from it, like of course the Brandstrom thing. Will he lose minutes? Of course, Ottawa just needs to be more disciplined as a whole. They won't get that lucky often, and of course Craig Anderson, great to see him doing well, and hopefully we'll see him back in Ottawa sometime soon, maybe in a management position. Also, an interesting stat, in February 18th, 2019, Craig Anderson got his 200th win as an Ottawa Senator. That was in a 7-4 victory over the Buffalo Sabres. Funnily enough, 3 years later, he would be playing for that team, the Buffalo Sabres. On this day, February 18th, the day I'm posting this video, a day after Ottawa took on Buffalo and Craig Anderson yesterday, it's kind of funny that history is going 180. Now, besides that, the next Senator game is tomorrow. It's the Boston Bruins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So I'll see you all then, Saturday night, against the Boston Bruins. Besides that, thank you all for watching. I appreciate your support. Love you all. I will see you tomorrow. Go Sens, go.